Welcome to another episode of the PLA podcast. Today we have Narthana with us. Narthana, welcome. It's so lovely to have you on here.
Sure. Thank you, Dunya. Thank you for giving an opportunity to talk with you through this podcast.
Oh, it's going to be such a great and juicy conversation. I have no doubt about it. I would love to formally introduce you to our audience today to give them a little bit of an insight of your experience and who you are before we get into the nitty gritty and all the questions I have for you today. Amazing. Welcome and meet Narthana, Dr. Narthana JK, originally from Tamil Nadu, a southern India with a lifelong dedication to both academics and the arts. A professionally trained Bharatanatyam dancer, blending creativity with discipline. Academic journeys include Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology, Masters of Engineering in Environmental Engineering, and a PhD in Biology with research focused on proteins from anaerobics bacteria capable of metabolizing heavy metals like arsenic, selenium, and chromium. Spending 12 years in Pittsburgh teaching a wide range of biology courses and conducting research involving large data sets and data visualization. With a passion for data driven problem solving, has inspired transition into corporate healthcare research and combining biology expertise with growing skills in data science, bringing a unique perspective at the intersection of science, teaching, creativity, and technology. Narthana, welcome to the PLA podcast. It's so lovely to have you on here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Dunya. It was so pleasure to hear what I have done from you.
And all of these big beautiful scientific terms that I obviously as the PLA podcast host will get hung up on at times, but it's an absolute gift to have you on here and to really get to know your technical and scientific background and pulling apart all of the data, the insights, the wisdom from all that scientific data. I'm so excited to have you on here.
Sure, sure. My pleasure. My pleasure always.
I'd love to take us back to the very beginning of your career and, in some ways, to find out where it all started.
Oh, that's a great question. As I told in the introduction, I had so much passion for science throughout my life, but I didn't realize it until I believe I was 12 years old. My parents used to get a newspaper, and usually we get both English and Tamil newspaper to read both sides of the news. And my dad's rule is to every day I have to sit for 20 to 30 minutes and read a newspaper. That's mandatory. There is no excuses for that thing. And then it felt boring for me to read politics at that age and everything. So I started looking through the newspapers and I loved the science and technology column. So I started reading it. And the one thing that fascinated, I think I was seventh grade or sixth, seventh grade, sometime like that, was the cloning. The first ever clone, the Dolly sheep. And it was such a big news that time. And I started reading how fascinating they could just copy Xerox a sheet into another's sheet. It's that easy, right? We take a lot of Xerox copies at the stores, but you can produce like a being, living being. It was like, oh my gosh, that's so much. And then I just started reading a lot, but I didn't do too much research. But when it came to choosing my career, I wanted to be a medical doctor. But I always keep telling my mom, like, I don't want to treat patients. I don't want to do injection or surgery. I think I wanted to do deep into how that disease is forming, how that's happening. But I never knew that's my interest. I was just talking to my mom, like conversation like that. But unfortunately, I could not do medical doctor career. But then I was like, I chose biotech because I know that time biotech was booming and it was just upcoming field, and I can do so much research. So I got introduced to microbiology, molecular biology, and genetics more importantly. And I started learning about cloning as a chapter. I started learning about DNA, RNA, everything, and that it just came into me. And then I got an opportunity in US, Pittsburgh Duquesne University, through a professor to do research for my master's thesis. And he introduced me to the brand new world of biology, which I have never been exposed in India. And the research in these labs, United States labs, were so advanced, and I don't have to think twice or thrice using the resources because that is all given to me. And I was given an opportunity to like go and invent whatever you want, go and discover whatever you want. So that pulled me into PhD in biology, which I never even dreamed because I was always an engineer. And then he told like, you can do biology, you should come, you should do some hybrid with biology and engineering. That's something who has never done. And that's how I got introduced into biofield. That's my first part.
Incredible, Narthana. There's so many little tidbits of your story that I love digging into. I can just imagine you as a little girl reading the newspaper, rolling your eyes, thinking, "Why am I doing this?" And all of a sudden, stumbling upon the science section of the newspaper, and be like, "You know what? If I'm going to spend 30 minutes reading the newspaper, I'm going to read something interesting." And little did you know that years later, science would still have such a profound impact on your career and journey. It's incredible.
Sure.
And there's a few other pieces even along your journey that I love. And that moment where you go to the US and these possibilities and doors just open up to you. And that you start to realize, wait a minute, I don't have to think twice. The world and my environment is now encouraging me to play full out. And that's really the power of environment and being in the right places that are encouraging us to play full out.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm thankful for that opportunity that came from the professor and also my partner, my husband, who found the lab, and he went and talked with that professor, and I got an opportunity to travel from India to come here. And rest is the history. And how I came into PhD, it's just because of my professor. He's like, you have some talent, I don't want to waste it. You have a passion towards research. You are finding something, because I do it as a playfully, and also I wanted to do it to finish my thesis. I didn't think too much, I just wanted to finish thesis. Okay, I'm writing a hypothesis, I'm writing an experimental design. Whether it works or not, I don't care at that time. I just wanted to wrap it up. But everything worked out, and my professor got so many new ideas which I never even thought I would even think like that. And he's like, oh, we have so much possibilities in this new world of anaerobic bacteria. And that's the first time, almost like 15 years back, I'm hearing a term called anaerobic bacteria. There's a whole world of bacteria that can live without oxygen, and we need that organisms to clean up our environment. Is like, oh my gosh, what's happening in this world? So that's how I got into my actual research for my PhD.
Little did I know that I was going to learn so much in the first 10 minutes of podcast today. I'm walking out of here with a whole exploration of scientific research that I haven't had in easily 15 years, if not ever in my life. One thing in your story that I really wanted to highlight is having the right mentor that can see so much greater than for you in your vision is so invaluable. Like there is so much there. And this is an invitation to everyone listening the podcast today is, who have been the mentors along your journey that have seen so much greater than you had at that moment, that allowed for you to achieve so many milestones that were far greater than what you had access to. And I think just taking a moment and really highlighting that with gratitude, Narthana, thank you for bringing that up, really.
Sure, Julia. And when you say this, I'm now thinking back all my mentors, right
Mm.
from Dr. Adeline Princey. I want to mention her name because she was the one who gave opportunity in my bachelor's for doing microbiology research. And I spent close to a year in her lab learning so many details. And that's the quorum sensing field. It's again microbiology. My love for microbes came from there because I'm like, I cannot handle mouse. I'm a born vegetarian. I cannot see animals. I cannot be near any animals. So it's okay to kill thousands of bacteria rather than teaching a mouse. That's my motto, actually. So
So
that's why,
sweet.
so that's
Oh,
why I always started searching for any research that involved microorganisms
beautiful.
initially, but I didn't understand the world of microbes at that time that much. But it was easier for me to handle bacteria. That was my only thing to get into the research.
And
Then eventually it paved way. Then Dr. Vasudevan in my engineering, Masters of Engineering lab, where he told like, you have 1 year to finish a thesis. If you are working in my lab, you have to do microbiology. And it was so happy for me because I love microbiology now. I can teach microbiology to any number of students and I can grow bacteria happily. So that paved way. And he said like, you need to bring something new to the table. So
yeah,
that's when I started reading the papers that was published by this my PhD professor, Dr. Stoltz. He has published more than 100 papers in the world of anaerobic bacteria, anaerobic microbes, who lives by breathing heavy metals. So it could
incredible.
be arsenic, it could be selenium, chromium, potassium. Those are all like regular heavy metals that we use day to day life and they get leached into the environment. But there's no efficient way of cleaning. There's tons of methods they are doing, but nothing is effective. But when you travel to West Coast and you see a huge lake that's called Mono Lake in California, it's full of arsenic and selenium. You get hundreds of new bacteria every day. You can streak, and that's living there. So that's when his research started. Like, how can these bacteria live? And when I started reading the paper, and I'm like, what if I applied this microbiology with my engineering to do some bioremediation for heavy metals? And slowly started, and that was my dissertation research too. And I spent several years dealing with a couple of bacteria. It's not easy to get anything because they are in the natural environment, but we want to mimic it to our own manual way. So it took a while to study and understand, but I think I did a little bit successful research in that.
Incredible. It's so fascinating, how at first, not wanting to work with mice, thinking I'm a vegetarian, there's no way, leading you to microbes and then it growing and becoming a great passion. I'm assuming that the last, like 5, 6 years have been fascinating in your field, especially with what the world went through. You must have gotten such a kick just from simply understanding what was going on far differently than the average person that doesn't have a background like you do in microbiology.
Yes, yes, definitely, Dunya, because like so many things are changing environmentally and there's a lot of things we need to address it. As a human we need to be more cautious of that, but also we have to address in more knowledgeable way, I would
Yes.
say.
I'm sure there were so many papers that came out during, the time of COVID, which is the reality that we're in, that we were in for so long, that you could understand versus the average person that was having so much trouble reading and really understanding. Like, what does this mean? How does this translate into actual words or numbers? And how do I respond to this information that I'm being fed or that I'm exposing myself to?
Yeah,
Incredible.
yes,
Oh,
definitely. And I love talking about science to all my peers. And during COVID, we used to go for a walk with my neighbors. And I just started talking. Oh, do you know why we are cleaning our hands? Do you know why we are doing this? And I started teaching for the little kids. That was a fun COVID time, I would say.
that was your COVID project. Incredible. And this goes to show, and this is again an invitation to the audience. When you love something, it translates into every facet of your life. It will translate in your personal life, like it will translate in your professional life. And it shows when someone loves what they're talking about, what they're learning, what they're working on. And I feel like that just really glows off of you every like as we're exploring this topic. It's beautiful to see.
Sure, thanks. Thank you.
I'm curious,
Mhm,
like as in every career journey, so many of us go through these challenges and these lessons and these hardships.
mhm.
And so oftentimes they are the moments that transform us and lead us to so many greater things and insights. I would be curious to know what were some of the biggest challenges and lessons along in your career, and what were the insights that you took from them?
Sure. So I have only my PhD experience as my career experience. That's one part. And then I have my teaching. So I would like to combine both and tell about the challenges. So during our PhD, it's mandatory that we have to teach. And coming from a foreign national, being an Indian, teaching to here, this American university was the first challenge I ever faced in my first semester.
Wow.
It's accent, even though I don't have that much of Indian accent, still the students have boundary, like they would be like, we don't understand what you're talking. I will be like, I haven't started teaching you yet. I haven't started. So it started from there. So I realized we need to have some kind of relationship and rapport built with the students that makes us open the all the boundaries, and then they become more friendly and we started talking a lot other than just the teaching materials. So if that was the first lesson I learned, is like, you just don't have to be just a teacher. You can be more friendly and just be a mentor rather than just dictating what they have to do. You That's the learning comes from both ways. So from my first semester, I realized I also have another wing that's called teaching. And teaching biology becomes so fascinating. From then, I started improvising myself. And I went and I told, like, I love micro. Why don't I start teaching microbiology? And everyone loved me as a microbiology instructor because I started doing so many experiments. I started showing different magical experiments, I would say, with bacteria and fungus and virus. So that actually gave more learning opportunity for me to how to become a better instructor and better teacher. So that's one part. But simultaneously, I have to balance my PhD research in the lab, and simultaneously, I have to balance my family as well at home. So those also big challenges for me to managing the time effectively, but also not give up. So there were several times my project didn't work well. So I have to restart from zero. And when COVID hit, all my cell lines died, and because of lockdown, so I have to restart again. So there were several timelines where I have to restart from zero. But the one thing I kept telling myself is, I have to be a role model, not just for anybody else, at least for my own kid. I'm not giving up. I'm starting back again from this. But I know how to be a better researcher now. So I will cut down on the times because I have already learned some process. So now it's a new method. So then I do it in a shorter way that can save some time, but better results. So those are the big challenges throughout until I graduated. I had several challenges just finishing my project's final wrap up and convincing the audience this is actually a better project through communication. So I started talking a lot. I started volunteering in a lot of scientific talks where I could just go and meet all the peers who are like minded and they wanted to learn from me. And also, they gave so many ideas. So that was like coming out of my comfortable zone. I pushed myself into that scenario. I went for several scientific talks and I'm like, I just explained my research. Whether it is good or not, I just explained it. So that gives so many good ideas that help me to finish or overcome the challenges.
Absolutely. There are so many insights in your share. Your first one is so applicable to every single field. And the
Mhm.
first one being really, you have to build a relationship before trust is established for people to really take your insights seriously. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a manager, whether you're a guide, a coach, whatever, even a doctor, I'd say, that relationship really has to be established to be able to make the most of, that sense of, I'm sharing my values, I'm sharing valuable insights, my education, in teaching, whatever that might be, for the other party. So many times we're thinking, okay, but I'm a good person, I want the best for my mentee or my student or my employee. And oftentimes, and you may feel and really believe that you have the best intentions and information, but really, relationship and building that trust is essential before anything else happens. And it's such a good teaching and such a good insight from your share, that I'm realizing, wait, the applicability to so many different fields. Yeah, absolutely. And that part of restarting, being willing to restart over and over again, and so many of us think we're starting fresh. We have to, it's point zero, but really, like you said, we're bringing our experience, and we know the next time around there's certain things that could take us less time, that we know how to do. So even though we are starting from scratch, we are starting from scratch, much much more experience and wiser than the very first time around.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, Narthana, it's so lovely to have you on here. I'm already getting so many insights and so much value from this conversation already, truly.
Thank you. And I feel like it's okay to fail
Yeah.
so many times, but after failing 10th time, are we trying 11th time? That's
Mm,
more important than just quitting.
yeah. Yeah. And I love that piece, because actually the muscle that we're building by trying again is actually more important than the result. Because no matter what we'll face, if we're willing to try again more than anybody else, no matter what, we will get the result regardless. It's just a matter of time.
Correct. Yes.
Now then
Yeah.
I'm curious, I'd be fascinated. We've talked so much about microbiology, we've talked about science, we've talked about teaching, we've talked about your experience. And now there's this big buzzword called AI. And I'm kind of curious, like, how does AI even connect to the field of microbiology or the field of science or teaching or in your own life? I'd love to get your perspective.
Sure, Junior, because now I'm getting into that field now. Slowly, I'm also trying to learn because I want to understand that I want to get into healthcare because,
Beautiful.
like, I love finding how a disease is formed or how that can be recovered and connect microbes into it because, like, there's a big topic always is gut microbiology because gut is all connected with everything in our function of the body, right? So to treat it, again, we need to understand. But then also, like, you don't need to, this AI is fascinating that you don't need to go in a traditional research way that takes longer to find a drug,
Wow.
for example. So we can always use this latest technology. If we know the structure of the protein and we know the structure of the drug, we can see how it combines and how it can help in our finding the medicines, for example. So that's one thing I'm also digging in and learning more, and how the experience I have in proteins and microbes can help me to understand the AI because now I want to do like a lot of data analysis and clinical research is my next interest that I'm dwelling into. And how can I use all the small bits of knowledge I have? Can I combine everything to become a better person, research and data analyst into healthcare field is my next goal.
It's beautiful. And in some ways, it touches on that passion that you mentioned at first. I didn't get the chance to be a medical doctor, but I ended up doing my PhD in microbiology. So it's almost like a full circle moment in so many ways.
Sure, sure.
Oh,
Hopefully, yes,
fingers crossed. And if it's meant,
yes.
it'll happen.
Because
And I
it's a
love,
lot
yes.
of learning, right? Like something that I haven't never ventured, so I need to understand the computer side of the field. So it's again a big learning curve for me.
I mean, I have no doubt if anyone can do it, it's definitely you. I have no doubt about that. And I love that you are now sharing with us that piece of the applicability of AI in the healthcare field, in microbiology, and how they can actually reduce the time of how researchers used to have to go through a traditional lab step by step. And now most likely it'll be far more efficient to get to results or, like you said, remedies for some of these um, ailments that we're having show up.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Incredible. Narthana, I'm curious, we talked a little bit about the future. We're talking about legacy and impact. I'd love to know more. What are you most excited about for all the things that are still coming for you?
The most important thing is first my career. I'm like excited to see I have all these dreams, but what is going to unfold for me in future? I'm just taking it as surprises every day. That's something, and yeah, pretty much everything is connected to my career, I believe.
I think that someone
And
that's as passionate. Yes, go on.
sorry, I would love to travel a lot. So that's another my bucket list to do start traveling a lot.
Absolutely. There's so much still ahead and there's so much opportunity. I think you're so blessed, and I have to say I'm also blessed in this way that we do what we love. That is one of the biggest gifts that life and God gives us, that it allows us to say, "Oh, you know what? I get to do what I love, and that's my first baby, my first joy." And everything else then shines because our cup is so full, and it's incredible. It's a true privilege.
You are correct, Dunya, because once we have some satisfaction in what we are doing on an everyday basis, we try to find or balance everything else around it.
Incredible.
That's what I learned in recent months, I would say. But if
Totally.
our daily life is or day-to-day activity is not good, we lost that momentum or happiness, and we just don't follow our regular schedule or routine happily.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's very healing to do what we love for a living. It's the best thing we can do for ourselves and for the world.
That's
I,
that's true.
I'm curious, we're on the PLA podcast. We've gone to connect through PLA, which has been an absolute blessing, truly.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, what was your experience? Like, what originally drew you to PLA, and what has been the biggest insight you've gotten from PLA? I'm curious.
Sure. Thanks, Dunya. Because like I wanted to talk about PLA anyways today because it's such a good experience. The first one is connecting with leaders, all of you. How much I'm learning from all of you is I cannot put in words because I'm so grateful for that. And everyone, like starting from Mamsi, Venkat, you, and Brendan, each of you are expert in your field, and the amount of teaching you give us in every call is like we cannot read that many books to understand all those, but we have like leaders like you that you just tell us this is the snippet, you just do it like a summary of book, I would say. And that's something like I'm so grateful I got into PLA and connect with you all. And I have changed my daily routine a lot. I'm still working on it, but at least I started putting in paper. Okay, I have to do this, and eventually, like if I miss 1 or 2 days, then third day I'm like, I have written it in paper. Now I have to do it.
Amazing.
All my goals are my daily routine or schedule, I would say.
It's incredible. And I love that you shared that piece of, it's like a book. It will fast track you through, instead of having to live the experience, it's like take it from the mentors and experts that are there that have spent decades working on the stuff, and in short snippets of time get so much value and just put you ahead. And like you said, like it changes the day-to-day life, not just professionally, not just in communication, not just in personal development and mindset. Everything in our life starts to shift when we're in a community and in a setting that really has us elevate and grow in all these different facets.
Absolutely. And also more importantly, all our people that are in PLA, It's a great opportunity to network with all leaders and pretty much from most of the companies, big companies. It's so easy, right? I don't want to say I'm it's taken for granted, but then it's a blessing, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the community and the network and the proximity is one of the biggest assets in this experience
Mhm.
that is PLA. It's been an absolute blessing. I'd love to, for the audience that's not sure what is PLA and they're curious about PLA, I just want to be able to put a QR code just in case. This is the next free training. I've been to so many of them, gotten so much value, and so many people in our community have gone so many times to the free training. It's incredible. You'll get all the information here. Just scan the QR code and it'll take you to the website and you'll get a little bit more data and insight on what is this wild PLA community that we keep referring to. Narthana, it's been an absolute pleasure having you today on the PLA podcast and really looking forward to interviewing you again. And thank you for your insights, your experience, and your wisdom. I've even learned so much on today's episode.
Sure, Dunya. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And I'm so happy I was able to talk through all my experience to a wonderful leader like you.
Oh,
It's such a pleasure.
Oh, I'm sure so many people are going to get so much value out of today's conversation. And if you are curious and have questions for Narthana and her experience, feel free to pop them into the comments or reach out to her on LinkedIn. I'm sure it'd be her pleasure to answer.
Sure, absolutely. Definitely. I'm happy to help anyone from my field.
Oh, incredible. And we will catch you all on the next PLA podcast. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Thank you.